Hey guys, let's see if I can get through this video. My husband is taking a nap and I just got up and took over this little one. I'm breastfeeding her right now. I haven't made a video. I've made some videos, but I haven't had time to post them. But I feel like I'm still kind of in a foggy mood because of the sleep and because of everything that happened. I don't know, I have a lot on my mind that I just don't know how to talk about or explain without sounding like a crazy person, I guess. Anyways, let's start from when I first went to the hospital. So I want to say around the beginning of September is when I lost my mucus plug, and I was already on zero sleep because this one used to love kicking my ribs, and you know, she was flip-flopping around. She was, you know, for a couple of weeks, she was, how do you say? See, I can't even think. She was, breech. There you go. She was breech, and I was worried about that. And then she turned transverse. And then finally, at the last checkup, she had turned head down, mostly head down. So that wasn't an issue anymore. I don't know. Throughout the whole pregnancy, you know, because of what happened with Artemis, I was worried the same thing would happen with her. About her heart rate and umbilical cord wrapping around his neck and all that. So I was very like hyper alert, I guess, of any type of movement that changed or anything like that. So I actually went to the hospital 3 times. Once because of false labor. I had lost my mucus plug, and then I did get contractions, and they were pretty steady, about 7 minutes apart, but they weren't that strong. And I had only dilated to 2 centimeters, so they sent me home. The next time I went was because I felt decreased movement. And yeah, they had to like jostle this girl awake to move, but she was okay. And then the last time I went was because I was bleeding bright red, which freaked me out. So I went, and they were like, it's normal because it's not gushing out of you. It's perfectly normal. Your cervix is just probably thinning out. But with the contractions you're having, they're still not close enough together. I think they were like as close as 10 minutes and as far as 20 minutes apart. And they weren't that strong either. So they're like, but you should be here like soon enough. Like, okay. So I got sent back home. And I was just tired. I was just tired of the pregnancy, I guess, the aches, the pains, not even being able to sleep. I couldn't even sleep on my side anymore or anything like that because everything hurt. My hips hurt, my sides hurt, my ribs hurt, everything just hurt. The day that I hit 39 weeks, which was a little bit over a week ago, a week and a day, today's Tuesday, I woke up at 5 a.m. with like contractions. And they hurt, so I knew that it was getting close, but I didn't want to be sent home again, so I decided to just thug it out and walk around at home and keep myself busy. So I made breakfast that morning. At 5 o'clock I made breakfast. I had to like actively breathe through my contractions because they were that bothersome. I was doing a lot of swaying of my hips, which helped a lot. Leaning on the counters, deep breathing. And so I knew that as soon as they got close together, it was going to be time. As the day went by, I tried to lay down and take a little bit of a nap, and I couldn't really sleep that much through the contractions. But I did get like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. I was trying to rest because I knew what was coming. So in the afternoon, I got up and I went for a walk around the neighborhood. The contractions were getting pretty strong, and I was like, time to go home because I can't walk around like this. So I headed back home. I laid down and I started timing them, and they were 13 minutes apart when I started timing them. Did you fall asleep? They were 13 minutes apart, and I was in my room by myself. I just didn't want to be bothered. Like, I didn't want anybody to try to be with me while I was doing this. And so I waited for the contractions to get closer, and they were getting much stronger to the point that I was kind of in tears already. My husband came in right when a big one hit, and I was crying. And he's like, don't you think it's time to go already? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Let's put Artemis down for a nap first. Because I didn't want to leave him alone in the house. Like, you know, my parents had left the house, and his grandparent, Ron's parents, which Artemis is not that familiar with, were the only ones home. So I felt a little bad for leaving him, you know, at home with them. So we tried to put him down for a nap. An hour passed by, and Ron just couldn't get him to stay down. So I walked in the bedroom, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. I guess it is what it is. Let's just go. And so we sent him to his grandparents' room, aka the nursery. And he was entertained by playing with their stuff, and we snuck out the door. And as I was driving there, my thought was, if they send me home this time and the contractions are getting pretty painful, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't know how much I can take of this. I know how bad they can get. Now, a good thing to note here is that last time I had to be induced. Kind of. I was in labor, but I wasn't progressing fast enough, and Artemis's heart rate was dropping, so they gave me Pitocin to speed everything up. And then I think I made it to 5 centimeters, and the contractions were so painful. I was like, my body was shaking and stuff, and I couldn't take it, and so I got an epidural. And then after the epidural, like, I opened up to 10 real fast, like within 3 hours, something like that. Anyways, so I was full on board with getting another epidural, but I was also thinking of trying to do it natural if it felt different for me. So I was still thinking about that as I was going, as we were driving to the hospital. But my main thing was, like, they better not send me home. I better have at least changed a couple of centimeters, because I've been in labor for like 3 days. Like, I'm tired. So we get there, they send me up to labor and delivery, and the first thing they do, they don't even ask me a lot of questions, they just check me. And they're like, oh, you're at a 6. Wow, that's impressive. You did all that laboring at home. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. They're like, okay, well, and then my doctor happened to be there as well. So, yeah, everything was falling into place. Her heart rate was excellent. She was still moving around. I was making changes in my cervix. Contractions were coming every 7 minutes or so. And they were getting stronger, but they were tolerable, as in I could breathe through them and calm myself. So they wanted to know if I wanted an epidural, and I said yes, but I had an issue last time with it, and I don't want to have that issue again. And like, what was it? Is that I couldn't get up for like a whole day, like the next day. It took forever for the numbness to wear off in my legs, and it took me a while to go to the bathroom. I couldn't get up to care for the baby, and that bothered me. When we were pushing, it made everything difficult. I couldn't feel the pressure to push, like that urge to push. I couldn't even feel my lower half, like it was like nothing. When they told me to push, I tried to will myself to push, and I just feel like I couldn't. And so after a couple of pushes, the doctor's like, well, I'm going to assist you with a vacuum, which is why Artemis has like a little shape to his head. And then she had to cut me too. So I wanted to try to avoid that. So I wanted to see either getting the epidural turned down before I pushed or something. And they're like, well, the girl who had checked me before was a 6, and she was like, well, let's talk to Dr. Fee and see what she says. And then Dr. Fee came in. She checked me too, and she's like, you're like at a 7-8. So she's like, if I tried right now, I could stretch you to a 9-10. She's like, but if you let me break your water, that might move things along even more. And I checked in at like 4:10, 4:15 in the afternoon. And this was happening within minutes. So it was going by pretty fast. And the contractions, they're like, you're doing so good breathing through them. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Maybe you don't need the epidural because that might slow things down and it might not even work. You're almost at an 8 already. Let me break your water and that'll take you to a 10 for sure. So I let her break my water and the contractions kept coming. And they were checking me because I felt something, like the urge to poop, I guess. And so the girl felt me and she's like, oh yeah, you're ready. She's right there, right? But she didn't feel around correctly and there was still some cervix there. So when the doctor came in and she's like, okay, we're going to try to push. I tried to push a little bit and it was so excruciatingly painful. And she felt around. God, whenever they put their hands in there, it's like you're tearing me from the inside out. It's the worst pain ever. And I was crying by this time. With every contraction and every time they checked me, I was like literally almost screaming. And I was hyperventilating. I felt my face going numb. I felt my arms going numb. And my doctor's like, well, there's still some cervix left. We need to let you, get a little bit more dilated. You're at a 9. You're almost there. So let me go deliver this other baby and I'll be right back. And so she left, and the nurse is like, I'm sorry, I thought I, measured you right. And the doctor's like, it's okay, it happens. Anyways, so there I am with my legs in the air, and my body by this time is my legs are just shaking, and I'm shaking, and I'm looking at the girl, and I'm like, it's too late for the epidural now, isn't it? And she's like, well, no, it's not. You can get it, but like I said, you're already there. Everything's gonna go by super quickly if you can just hold on. If you guys see boobs, sorry. And so I went ahead and just kept going. At this point, I was like, well, what else am I gonna do? I'm already here. I can't not have this baby. I can't just say, oh, you know what? I changed my mind and get up. So I continued with the laboring and breathing through my I had to have oxygen because like I said, I couldn't feel my face or my hands. They felt so numb, and it's because I was breathing too fast. I tried to slow down my breathing and all that, but it was so hard because with each contraction I felt like, seriously, like my insides were coming out with nothing to numb it. We literally had nothing to numb anything. So that continues happening for another, I don't know how long. It didn't feel like forever. Everything was, like I said, was going by really fast. And so I had that urge to push. It feels like you need to go to the bathroom, like you need to go take a huge poop. You could feel it like in your butt. And I'm like, oh, this is the feeling, like I knew right away. I'm like, I told the lady, I'm like, I need to push. And she's like, okay, good. She's like, she went down there and she put her hands in, I guess she stretched me. She's like, yeah, there's no more cervix. We're good. I can feel her head. She's like, ready to come. Try to push for me. And yeah, I pushed a little bit and she, like, her head was right there, I guess. And so she's like, okay, let's have Dr. Fee come in here and let's get this baby out. I was like, okay. So everybody came back in. They brought the table over, the warmer and all that, and the nurses came. It was 3 of them. And my husband was right next to me the whole time. He wasn't saying much. He was just trying to hold my hand and just be there. I'm gonna cry. So Dr. Fee came in, and she put her freaking hands in there again. I don't know what they do. I guess they stretch out your opening or something to assist with the baby coming out. I don't know, but I felt every fucking thing and it hurt so bad. They were waiting for a big contraction to come. And finally one came and oh my god. They were like, okay, you're gonna hold your legs, tuck your chin in, and you're gonna push with everything that you have, okay? She's right there. She's ready to come out. So just push as hard as you can. And yeah, I remember just bearing down and like pushing so hard with every last ounce of energy that I had, because I had none. And I felt when she crowned, I felt when she was coming out, it was like this burning, stinging sensation. I felt when it ripped. And I, at that point, couldn't help it and I screamed so loud. Like, I know that they say screaming like wastes energy or whatever, but for me, when I started to scream, I was able to push harder. And sure enough, she just came right out and they were like, stop pushing, stop pushing. I'm like, you just told me to push super hard and now you're telling me stop. I'm like, I can't. And it came out of my mouth. I'm like, I can't because she was already coming out. Like, I couldn't push her back in. And it turns out that I did slow down the pushing, I guess. That her umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck and her like little body, like her torso and her arm. How? I don't know. So, but she was fine. Dr. Fee was able to unravel her, and they put her on my chest, and she was crying super loud. I know she was probably like, God damn it, why'd you take me out? And I cried, of course, because I'm like, God damn it. As soon as she came out, the pain didn't completely, totally go away, but it did subside. Like, it didn't hurt as much as it was hurting before. And God, that was some relief, because I was like, I'm not gonna make it through this. If this continues going, because I've heard people push for like an hour or two. Yeah, I was just happy that it was over, that she was fine. And as they were cleaning her up on me, and did you guys hear that? As they were cleaning her up on my chest and everything, she had her eyes open and all that. She wasn't crying anymore. My doctor was still down there. She had to deliver the placenta, which I felt everything come out. I felt when they pushed down on my stomach and the blood gushed out. I felt when she was stitching me back up. I had no kind of anesthesia. I had no kind of anything. Like, it was so painful. But having her in my chest really helped take my mind off of every little pinch I felt when she was stitching me up. My husband wasn't given a choice. She's like, here, to cut the umbilical cord. Last time they asked him if he wanted to, and he said no. His exact words were, I'm good. But this time around, they didn't really ask him. They just handed him the scissors. He cut, and he was just like, ugh. He got to see everything that happened to me, and I could see his facial expressions, and he was not happy with what he was seeing. There is my labor story this time around. I don't know. I've been feeling so like an out of body experience, I guess. The whole time I was in the hospital, I'm just like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this is real. I know that I was hoping for her to come out already and, be healthy, and she is, and I'm so thankful for it, but I just feel like a zombie just going through the motions right now because I haven't gotten proper sleep. She has her days and nights mixed up. We have a 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old, who is being nice to her and being cooperative, but he's also wanting and demanding attention himself. So it's been pretty hard. I've cried a total of 2 times because of sleep deprivation and just feeling like, how am I supposed to do this? but with each day it's getting better. My husband and I have been splitting the responsibilities. I've been taking care of Trinity most of the time, and he's been fully taking care of Artemis. I remember the first 2, 3 days that I came out of the hospital, I was in my room by myself, just trying not to make any sudden movements because of my pain, and trying to feed her as best as I can. But now that my in-laws aren't here anymore, they went to stay with their daughter, I've been able to have free range of the living room, so now I breastfeed out here, which is much more comfortable. And I'm around my son more because I'm able to breastfeed out here, and he's able to be around his sister, and he hasn't tried to do anything crazy to her besides point at her and say sister. So I think it's all good. I think it'll get better, and hopefully this fogginess that I'm feeling will go away soon. Hopefully I'll get a good night's sleep soon, and I'll feel a lot better. But I just wanted to give you guys that update, and I will see you guys again in the next video.